Hello, 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 hello. So, thank you all for joining. Well, those who will be coming on. This is my first YouTube live, and I'm so excited. And I have the beautiful Nefertiti here
Hello,
joining me.
everybody. Who's on? Who's on?
But the great thing about this is that it will be saved, so you can watch it later. So,
Okay.
yeah, so that's awesome. Basically, I have been doing Facebook Lives pretty consistently every Tuesdays, but a good friend of mine was like, "You need to do YouTube Lives." So we're testing this out, and we're actually going to be talking about Prandhara's Flow. And so Prandhara's Flow is a new project that I decided to do. So let me just tell you a little bit about it. I see two people came on. Thank you guys for coming on. Please feel free to send any, write any questions that you may have, and we'll answer. But what I'm doing is I'm going to actually talk about who was Prandhara Prim, who is Nefertiti Charlene, and what is Prandhara's flow all about. So um, basically, my name is Renee, and I go by Prandhara Prim. I am a psychotherapist and became a tantric therapist. And Prandhara Prim is my initiated name that I received in tantra. And so, um, I've been living in Brazil the last almost 9 years. And Nefertiti and I met in Brazil. How did we meet? Let's before I continue on about who I am and what's Prandhara Prim, tell them about how we met, and then you can talk a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go on a little bit more.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So I'm Nefertiti. Renee is my very dear friend, sister friend, and we met 7 years ago this month, January. Um, when I first came to Brazil, I went out to eat at a restaurant with two friends. And when we came up the stairs, we saw this beautiful table of wonderful, beautiful Black women, and we were like, "Who are these ladies?" And one of them was someone that I know, a very important artist in the world, and friend and colleague, Amara. And I saw Amara. I said, "Hey, Amara, what are you doing here?" She said, "Hi, I'm here." She said, "This is my friend Renee." And I said, "Oh, hi, Renee. Nice to meet you." And Renee invited me. Renee is a very warm and welcoming and inviting person. So she said, "Hey, we have every Sunday a healing clinic in a community in Salvador. Every Sunday morning where we do acupuncture, Reiki, meditation. So you should come through. It's right on the water, and it's a great place to just wind down, connect with the elements." And I said, "Wow, she sounds great. That sounds great. That's what I was wanting and needing." So the next day went with those friends, and then we became friends ever since. Yay. And we've had many, many moments of, since then, many moments of meditation, of contemplation, of ritual, of laughter, of reflection, processing. So it's been a really great and rewarding experience to be your friend.
Mhm. So it's been awesome. It's been awesome, and we've been great friends ever since. And so, when I decided to do this project, Prandhara's Flow, I was like, Nefertiti, you have to be a part of it. Like, there's just no way I
Thank you.
can't do this Prandhara's Flow without you being a part of it. So,
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about your work.
So I came to Brazil to intensify my studies as an artist, a performance artist, principally through dance, but has also been through song, through percussion. I'm a percussionist, have been for a number of years, and yeah, through performance, through live performance, improvisation, through dance, through the body. So I went to school, a program here that's 2.5 years. It's an intensive technique program. And I continued here after I finished school, started a collective that looks at the intersection of performance art, feminism, decolonization of knowledge processes, and reclaiming spaces and territories. So, with this group, we've been doing different pieces, and we actually ended up opening a new cultural space about a year and a half ago that gives priority to the culture and practices that women produce in the city and in the world, because we know that there's a great disparity in the work that women do and how it's valued, how much visibility it's given, and also just safe spaces in general for women to learn, to engage, to practice with their bodies, to have honest conversations. More and more, given sort of the political moment, those spaces are being rejected and denied to us. So it's a moment of really resisting by holding these spaces, solid and strong, and keeping the doors open and having activities happen. So we produce our own work in this space. It's called Casa Rosada in the center of the city. And I also am a part of a couple other collectives, an all women's drum group, where we practice and learn sacred candomblé rhythms with my master teacher Monica Millet, who's one of the pioneer women uh, percussionists in Brazil. And I also am a part of Plataforma Aracá, which is a platform that promotes exchange and creative uh, processes with Afro-diasporic artists in Brazil and beyond. So it's with that group that I have participated in a performance piece where we will be going to Germany Saturday to present in a Latin American theater festival. So really excited about that. We'll be representing Brazil. So that's kind of my trajectory, principally from creative processes that are connected to performance, to music, to the body, and how from those processes we can sort of engage with our own internal evolution, our own internal, uh, you know, uh, processes of empowerment, of decolonization, which is a huge endeavor that I feel like our generation has taken on as our mission, is to really work towards developing practices or learning new practices that really break down oppressive, um, you know, ethics and practices that our people have been taught for generations as a result of colonization. So,
Awesome,
yeah.
awesome. So I want to say quickly, quick hello to those who are joining us. Hello, Youssef. Hello, Russell. Thank you guys for coming on, and the other people who are on. So Nefertiti, how long have you lived in Brazil?
So I've been in Brazil for 7 years. Yeah,
7 years. And
Seven
I've been
years.
there for 9 years. And so one of the things with Prandhara's flow is this idea came to me while I was in Bali. I spent a month in Bali and I was actually working. I went there to lead a retreat, well, to lead some
Mm-hmm.
workshops on a retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I was like, I'm not going to go for a week in Bali and just work. So I'm going to stay another 3 weeks and just like enjoy and work on myself.
Yeah.
So, within those 3 weeks, I did do two other workshops.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the time was really just self work. I was receiving massages. I saw a shaman. I got a water purification, so many things, healing work. I did a fast for 3 days, infrared sauna, colonics, like all kinds of stuff, you name it. Did a lot of intense work with a shaman there. I received Kundalini Reiki initiation, and it just came to me to do Prandhara's flow. And so really it was a last minute thing. And it was like, okay, I got to get this started. I want to start in January. And so, and the idea came I do a lot of work with sacred sexuality and tantra. And so
Mm-hmm.
those who don't know me, I have a background as a psychotherapist. So when I used to live in the US, I had a private practice. I worked for a psychiatric hospital as well as a crisis center. And
Mm-hmm.
then once I started living in Brazil, I started work with different alternative health like tantra, shamanism, Reiki, and Nefertiti too. You kind of you come from a shamanic background as well, and so we've done some shamanic things together, which has
Mm-hmm.
been awesome. And you can
Yeah.
talk. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as somebody who is really engaged in trying to um, unearth the indigenous and Africana practices that were sort of erased from our generational memory. Uh, it started when I was maybe 19 or 20 years old, when I started sort of really trying to tap into my indigenous heritage and practices that looked to connect to our ancestral memory, our ancestors, and also as a way to sort of think about who are we going forward. And so that was, I'm from California, and the Chicano community, spiritual, activist and spiritual community is very strong. The Peyote community, Native American church. So that was, and sweat lodges, the temescales. That's kind of where I began to engage with these other kinds of practices and community, and really find this side of myself. So that was many years of, of this beautiful spiritual community that really helped me and my family as well sort of process a lot of things and discover and claim that side of myself. And so when I came to Brazil, I was, bringing, over time, it's sort of how are we accumulating these practices that were denied to us as knowledge and as a right, and how are we incorporating them into our daily life? So yes. So when I found Renee, we, I would share just what I had been taught, what had been taught to me, and what had been taught to those people before them, as ways of, engaging our spirit with the elements, with the spiritual dimensions, and with ourselves. So yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things being in Brazil, Brazil is a very magical country, very powerful. And so, we did a lot of work there, and it was just amazing. A lot of work, the shamanic work, a lot of healing with
Mhm.
energy work. And so, when I was in Bali, it really came to me to do this program to help work with people on becoming more empowered,
Mhm.
uh, to transform, to really do true transformation. And it's
Mhm.
not like your typical 3 week transformational course and then you're supposed to come out transformed. Because how many of us have done this? New Year's comes and we're like, we have this New Year's resolution, we want to do this, or we do a course and it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and then nothing. You get some
Mhm.
insight and then nothing really change. No big change happens. And
Mhm.
so, one of the things that I wanted to do was get a couple of different healers, guides, and teachers that I have met along my path from everywhere that I've traveled. I've traveled to many, many different countries, on 4 different continents. I got to make it on all seven, but 4 different continents. I've been to several countries. And so, I've been really blessed and fortunate to meet some amazing women like Nefertiti, who just
Mhm.
has some who really has some amazing skills and talents. I mean, I remember going to you when I wanted help to do cleansings. I'm like, well, what do you do? What do I
Yeah.
do with the egg? Okay, I know that I can cleanse somebody with the egg. How do I read it? Like, what's going on? And you're like teaching me those things. So,
Yeah.
you know, um, so even in my work, I'm very limited in everything that I can offer.
Mhm.
What I can offer, I'm really good at. Like
Mhm.
I truly study and go deeper and deeper to be the best that I can at what I do. But there's so many
Mhm.
other things that I don't know. There's so much out there. So I was like,
Mhm.
to really have the people that I work with be able to get transformation and expand, truly expand their horizon, expand their subconsciousness, is to connect them with the different teachers that I've been blessed to meet in my path.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Prandhara Flow is a year-long program. But what the
Mm-hmm.
hell? That's crazy. Who wants to commit to a year? I don't know, but it came to me to do. And the thing is you have the option where you can do month to month. You don't have to sign up for a whole year. You know, if
Mm-hmm.
you sign up for a
Mm-hmm.
year, there is a great discount, but maybe there's different teachers that you relate to or resonates with you, and you're like, I want to do that course. Or there's a couple
Mm-hmm.
different that you want to work with. Okay, that topic sounds good. That topic sounds good. So then
Mm-hmm.
you can do a couple of the months, but each month you're going to get different meditations, different affirmations that you can do on a daily basis. So I will be
Mm-hmm.
doing a course once. One of the times you will be getting two teachers. One will be me on the second Monday of each month, and I will be giving you tantric massages. I'm sorry, I give tantric massage. That's on my mind. I will be giving you tantric meditations that you can do daily, as well as affirmations.
Yeah.
And so within that
Yeah.
each month, I'm going to give you a new tantric meditation. You're going to do it
Mm-hmm.
daily. You're going to get the music. You're going to get daily affirmations that you could do. Then the last Monday of each month, you're going to be meeting with one of the teachers or guides who has a specialty, and they're going to be
Mm-hmm.
talking to you about that. So I see people on. If you're on, feel free to ask any questions that you may have. Write out your questions. I'm here to answer. Even if it's about anything else, about my channel in general, ask whatever questions you have. If it's about Prandhara's Flow, ask. That'll be great. If you've seen one of my videos, past videos, and you have a specific question, now's the time. Go ahead and ask. And while I'm here, so Nefertiti, so
Mm-hmm.
can you talk to us a little bit about, you're going to be in March,
Yeah.
and in March, you're going to be talking about empowerment through the Bahian culture. So can you tell us
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more about that? Why? Yeah, tell us a
Yes.
little bit more about that.
Yeah. So I've been here for the last 7 years, and I came with the intention to learn, different cultural manifestations and practices, um, artistic manifestations, particularly performance, particularly with the body, particularly with sound, and aside from being an interest that is related to this bigger desire to engage with non-Western and non-white knowledge forms. It's also and through that process, it's also about how do I understand myself in the world and be in the world in a way that's balanced, in a way that's centered, without being overwhelmed with sort of the reality of being in the oppressive structures that we're in. It is very overwhelming. I think that before I came to Brazil, I was a community organizer. I worked, I lived and died for the struggle for the rights of Black and Brown people, and was on the streets, was fighting for policy changes, was very much externalizing the fight. But where that left me internally was sort of, I needed more tools to sort of ground myself for those daily fights and those
Mm-hmm.
larger fights that we're all sort of constantly fighting, especially women, especially queer folks. So I identify as queer, and it's sort of like, how do we create the vessel or strengthen our vessel, which is our body and our mind, to deal with that every day, and to not be overwhelmed by it, and to really tap into different, as I said, different knowledge forms that are ancestral, uh, that connect to our memory as African people and as Indigenous people. So what I'll be focusing on is sort of principles and elements that are sort of consistent thread through the different kinds of musical and performatic manifestations. In Afro, I say Afro-Bahian because Afro-Brazilian is also within itself extremely diverse, extremely varied. And because I've been in Bahia specifically this time, I feel like I can't speak to the other, manifestations in other states that have also their own histories and their own specific knowledge forms. So, so I'll be connecting us to. So a lot of times when people meditate, in mainstream sort of meditation, uh, well-being sort of culture and that sort of field. What is predominant as a knowledge form comes from India. Naturally, that is where Ayurveda comes from. That is where the different knowledge forms of yoga come from, and different meditation practices and different things created for that purpose.
Tantra.
But they're tantra as well. So what I've sort of learned by accident. So I didn't come here looking to develop, better meditative or self well-being practices. But in the process of being here, I've discovered that we have those knowledge forms as well. Being here, so even though samba music, for example, it's fun, people dance. If you break down what's in the samba music rhythmically, what the clave is, so the clave is sort of the pulse and the heartbeat of any rhythm. It is something that's meditative. It is something that we can tap into to ground ourselves. So what is our relationship to rhythm, both internally and externally? And how is that something that the decisions we make? How is that something that can bring us closer to our own instinct and trusting our own rhythm, if you could say, with how we do things in life? And how are those rhythms, how are specific rhythms also tied to particular elements that you find in nature?
That you find it what?
The
I'm
rhythm
sorry. I'm sorry.
in nature. So
Okay.
in nature, the predominant,
Okay.
there's a couple Afro descendant religious practices here. There's candomblé, which is made up of there's sort of three different lineages. There's Ketu, which references Yoruba belief systems and practices. There's Jeje, which connects to Fon, which is the area of Benin and northern Nigeria, Ivory Coast, to those specific practices and beliefs. And then there's the Angola, which connects more to the Congo and Bantu areas of Africa and belief systems. So, and here in Bahia, they've all over time have transformed into something specific to here, given the context of colonization, given the context of meeting with the indigenous cultures that were already here, the Pataxó, Tupinambás, who also had their own knowledge systems. So it's this meeting of knowledge systems and beliefs that were key in sort of helping the spirit overcome and sustain itself in the process of slavery and the oppression that came after. So a lot of the rhythms tied to particular religious or specific spiritual entities that are tied to natural elements. So, for example, there is Iyansa. Iyansa is the Orisha of air, of wind, of changing time, of sort of of the moment when you need the winds to sort of refresh and clean the slate. There's a lot more to Iyansa as an entity, as a concept, that I will talk more about in my talk, and how the rhythms related to this entity help us connect to the idea and the purpose of air in our lives and the purpose of wind in our lives and when that's necessary and how we engage in it. So it's through, so there's these different elements, there's these different aspects that also help us relate in a very intelligent way to nature. So we're not only just admiring nature and sort of uh, engaging with nature in a sort of aesthetic way, but we're also figuring out how to connect with nature in a mutually beneficial and intelligent sort of way. Like, what is the knowledge behind the wind?
Mhm.
What is the
And
knowledge?
that's so great because nature has so much to offer us. We have so much to learn from nature. And so a lot of times we take nature for granted. Like we don't think about that.
Mhm,
We don't think about the wind and the forces or any of that, you
mhm,
know? And so I think this gives a great perspective on how we can connect to the different elements of nature, how we could use it to heal
mhm,
ourselves, how we might relate to
mhm,
that, so
mhm.
yeah, yeah. And actually, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You
Yeah,
ever
no,
said
it's
something?
basically so. So that's kind of what I hope to talk about is, taking a few of these particular entities that are very symbolic in many different ways and how they manifest in daily life and how you can
Mhm.
tap into that in a daily sort of way. That, and I'm not saying in any way that what I would be sharing are traditional rituals that connect you to those entities. I'm not initiated. I'm not an authority. But as somebody in this context, and as somebody who is engaged in a sort of daily life kind of way with these concepts, there is a way that you can apply them to your life to sort of sharpen your instincts and your relationship, strengthen your relationship with yourself and with those elements, and sort of understanding air beyond sort of being the wind that passes by. But what does air mean in your life at different moments? What is it that the winds need to change, and why did they change? How is it that we stay grounded? How is it that all the elements can be balanced at particular moments in our lives?
Mhm.
So.
Mhm. And that's excellent because even just from how you're talking about, so many of us end up studying these systems that come from India, like India based. And so when we look at the chakras, each of the chakras
Mm-hmm,
are related to elements. So like the root
mm-hmm,
chakras related to the earth, the second chakra,
mm-hmm,
the sacral chakra, to water, the third chakra,
mm-hmm,
the solar plexus, to fire, and the heart chakra to air. So
mm-hmm,
it'd be interesting to see those, looking at it
mm-hmm,
from the African perspective, from the African religious, African spiritual perspective, and
mm-hmm,
see how we can become empowered with connecting to these elements. You
mm-hmm,
know, yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's
Hmm.
yeah. So it's more about exploring those systems of knowledge, both in a sort of rational, conversational sense. So sharing just information, but also through particular practices like certain movements, certain symbols that we make with our hands, with our head, with our shoulders. What is it that we do with our bodies that engage with a particular kind of concept or element? Um, so it's sort of like thinking about what movements also help call in that kind of energy when you need it. And what are particular sounds and particular rhythms that also sort of call in that energy when you need it, or the protection. Because another concept here that's very powerful is the idea of knowing when to close the body and protect it, and knowing when to leave it open. So this
Mm,
concept of always, the path towards enlightenment is not necessarily constantly open. So there's an understanding of sort of the chaos that can happen around us as we're going through this process, and knowing when it's important to close our bodies and our minds as we go through this process. Because there's moments when we're extremely vulnerable, um, and sensitive, and we can unwillingly or unknowingly absorb other energies that cross our path from
Yeah.
other people, from other situations. And so, how is it that we understand the importance of also closing when we need to, and also understanding when it's important to open, when it's
Mm-hmm.
important to give space and trust in a particular direction you're going, in a relationship that's arriving. And so, the idea of sort of closing and opening, of cleansing, so the role that particular plants have in cleansing energy and cleansing the body is also something that, while I've been here, I've learned is a really important ritual and also process. It's a ritual in helping you physically and symbolically kind of wash away what we don't need anymore, what we're unknowingly carrying, and to do it in a way that is not intense necessarily, that is not all this work, but to understand that it's something that we can do on a daily basis and something that we can build into our daily practices.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to say a quick hello. I already said hello to Russell, but Russell's typing here. And so Russell is a great friend of mine from the States. I met him, oh my God, like 20 something years ago, more than that. So anyway, he just said he saw me on Soledad O'Brien. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for mentioning that and watching. He said it was a great show. So I was just telling him to check me out on Lifetime, Married at First Sight. So Married at First Sight is a show that's on. They're on season 10. It actually comes on today on Wednesdays at 8 p.m.
Wow.
EST. So it's on right now. And for those of you who don't know, I will actually be on Married at First Sight. I am one of the tantric
What's the date?
therapists. I don't know the date. I don't know which episode. So they have not told me that. But
Okay.
I think they're on episode 3 or 4 right now of
Mm-hmm.
season 10, the current season. So I am in
Mm-hmm.
this current season. I just don't know what episode. So be sure to watch it on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. And so you guys can see me when I have my cameo as a tantric couples therapist on the show. So it's gonna be great. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that as I'm here talking with Russell in the chat. And if anyone else has any questions or any comments, please feel free. We are here and to answer anything. And yeah. So interesting. I would actually like to have you back on again, Nefertiti, to talk about. You said you identify yourself as queer, and so I would
Yes.
like to do a show just on that. Um,
Fantastic.
yeah, I think that'd be really good. Um, one to also help me understand a little bit more, and
Mm-hmm.
I work with sexuality, so I think I have
Mm-hmm.
I have some understanding, but I would really love to have more of an understanding and get my audience to understand a little bit more about that.
Mm-hmm.
Prandhara's Flow, YouTube Live, time and date. So, Russell, I'm going to put the information in the comments. So, Prandhara's Flow is actually a year-long program, but people can do month to month, and it's going to be the second and the last Mondays of each month. And so I'm going to put the website with all of the details on that, because it's going to be 7 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the second and fourth Mondays of the month. So I'm going to put all of those details. And um, this month, January, but the 27th, we have Kamal. He did a Facebook Live with me last week, and I did download it on YouTube, so you can go check that one out. He's a Qigong master. He does a lot of work with energy work, healing, um, just a lot of stuff. I mean, you have to watch the video because he gave such great information on just kind of connecting with your body, energy work. It was really, really good, really, really good. I definitely recommend that you watch that. And he does a lot more. I just keep talking about qigong, but he does a lot more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And then in
But
February, I'm gonna
Qigong
have
in itself is a beautiful knowledge system that,
it.
you know, was
It
key
really
in
is.
actually in my father's healing process. My father had cancer, and Qigong is now being considered, a very important therapy in cancer centers, and just how it moves energy, how it transforms bodies is it's another knowledge system that I'd like to learn more. So maybe I'll engage next week.
Yes, yes, please do. So it's interesting because I think my first experience or contact with qigong was when I was in Thailand. So it was the
Mm,
beginning. I believe I don't remember anything before that, but while I was in Thailand, I did an inner sexual alchemy course,
mm,
and in that the teacher did taught us qigong, and it
mhm,
was amazing because the
mhm,
qigong is really it's opening up your meridians, you're expanding. It is a way of healing yourself. And so there's two
mhm,
different parts of qigong, which is what I just learned from Kamal, right? You have the martial arts qigong and you have the healing medicinal qigong. And
mhm,
you work
mhm,
with medicinal qigong. So
mhm,
qigong, yes, in just that is so powerful where you can heal yourself, you can heal your body. And
mhm,
so when I did the qigong in Thailand, we were using that to direct our sexual energy. And so many
mhm,
people, I really want to explain this because so many people hear me talk about tantra or work with the sexual energy, and people automatically think tantric sex. But that's not what it's about. Tantric sex is about 5%. Sex is about 5%. We got a whole 95%, which is about healing you, healing your body, and working with the sexual energy, which is your life force energy. It's your vital
mhm,
energy. And so people,
mhm,
in this day and age, all we think about is sex, 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 sex.
mhm,
No,
mhm,
Tantra is about healing. It's about releasing the traumas and blockages that's in your body so that we can have better communication, better intimacy, first and foremost within ourselves, so we can know ourselves. Then we can
mhm,
have better relationships with our partners,
mhm.
like true
Yes.
relationships, not
Yeah.
shallow, empty relationships from what you learn on porn or wherever you learn, because we don't really learn. We actually don't learn
Mhm,
how to be in a relationship. We never
mhm,
had classes in school on how to be in a relationship. Many of our
mhm,
parents never taught us because they didn't really know. And
mhm,
so we learned from watching our parents and learning their mistakes, watching them argue, yell, and scream, get divorced, or whatever have you. Um,
mhm,
there's many of us who are fortunate where parents didn't get divorced, they had loving relationships, and we saw good role models. But many of us were not that fortunate. And so, Tantra comes in to teach you how to love yourself, how to and not only that, how to work with your sexual energy so you learn how to channel that energy and not waste it so that you can start to manifest things. Manifest what? Manifest what you want to do in your life, whether what type of work you want, what type of relationships you want, traveling around the world. So many people who know me before I moved to Brazil, you know, I was a traditional psychotherapist. I've always wanted to have retreats around the world, but I didn't know how to do that. And once I learned and started working with the Tantra, I started to learn how to channel that energy. And so
mhm,
Qigong does that similar thing. And so when I took that intersexual alchemy course, I was also going to a whole nother level, a deeper level, honestly, with learning how to channel
mhm,
that energy and how to open
mhm,
different meridians and release things, the blockages. So it was
mhm,
amazing, amazing. And ever since I got back from Thailand, I've been searching and wanting to do qigong here. Here where I live, I can't find a qigong place. There was
mhm,
one, but I don't know. I keep doing these searches. They have in Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo is a huge city here in Brazil, but I don't live in Sao Paulo. And then when I went to Bali recently, and I received my Kundalini Reiki initiation. My Kundalini teacher, he did teach me as well. He taught me Qigong, and he used that as the principal base for his work. And so, he taught me a couple of moves. Kamau also, he taught me some great Qigong pieces to open the meridian. So,
mhm,
and it's coming more and more into my life. So I feel like, and I know that it is powerful, and it's something that I definitely want to include in my daily practice. And
mhm,
so Kamal will be talking about that. And if you're available in January, in 2 weeks, come on. It's going to be great. In February, I'm going to have Lynn. Lynn is someone else who's amazing, who I did meet here in Brazil. And Kamal, I met in Thailand when I was in Thailand, and then I saw him again in Bali. He lives in Bali. And Lynn, I met in Brazil, and she lives in Bali, so I reconnected with her in Bali this time. And the second time, actually, I reconnected with her in France, and this third time in Bali. So we keep kind of appearing in each other's lives. And she also works with Qigong, yoga. She's a kung fu. She does kung fu. She's been doing kung fu for many years. Shaolin kung fu, capoeira. She's just amazing. She has many different skills, talents, and she's learned a lot of different things in her path through doing these different types of energy work, body work, and so she's going to be sharing about that. Um, March, we have Nefertiti who's here that's talking. April is going to be Gabrielle. Gabby, our sister from Salvador,
Hey.
and she's amazing as well. She does a lot of shamanic work, and she's a sound healer. We're going to have Tafari, who's also amazing. He's a sound healer. I also met him in Brazil. He lives in the States in Detroit. He does some amazing sound healing work. I'm going to have tons of people. Tamika, who does silent retreats. She's amazing. I met her because she came on my retreat. I do retreats every April for women of color, to work on their sacred sexuality, to really heal and release the traumas and blockages. So she came on and I met her. Then she invited me to lead a couple of workshops on her retreat in California. Now she's going to be on this, talking about the importance of silence and how to still your
Mhm.
mind. I have Monisha, who works with colonics and mind body health and iridology, the reading of the eyes. She's going to come on 1 month. I have so many amazing people. I have Tosh, who also works with the divine feminine energy. I have, who else do I have? I have Manifest Ra, who also works with, he's a motivational speaker in the US. And he has his program, which is called the Energy Cultivation. He also works with sacred sexuality. Look, man, this program is going to be good. All I can say is go to my website, www.prandharaprem.com. Actually, I can type it up right here, right now, prandharaprem.com. There you go, Russell. You was asking for more information. It's right there. Go to www.prandharaprem.com and check it out for more information. You'll have all the teachers there. Nefertiti, where can people reach you if they're coming to Salvador? They want to. You offer. Tell,
Yes.
tell us again what you offer at Casa Rosada. Where can people
So,
reach you
mhm.
to find out more about your space and coming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for folks who want to come to Salvador and kind of get connected to what local culture and community and art, what's happening, I'd be happy to be a resource for that. So we have a space where we have workshops constantly on everything from, this weekend we're going to have uh, vaporização. How do you say that in
Oh, Yoni
English?
Steam, Yoni
Yes,
Steam.
yoni
Come on,
steaming
yeah,
workshops.
y'all got to do another one when I'm there. I'm about
Do
to
another
come
one.
in 1 week.
So there'll be that. There's also going to be a show, a performance, an acoustic show. So it's very varied. It's a space. If you have things that you like to share and you want to do a workshop, hit us up. We'll see what we can do, how we can make that happen. I think that Prandhara is going to be doing one at the space, if I'm not mistaken, in
Yes,
February.
February 9th, I'm going to be doing one for women. We're going to be talking about the importance of Kegel exercises, strengthening the yoni muscles. We're going to be doing a tantric meditation. It's going to be really great talking about just the divine feminine energy and healing. It's called Sankofa Diventry. I'm going to be working with Carol from Yoni das Pretas, and that's basically the name. Yoni das Pretas. Yoni is a sacred Sanskrit name for a vagina, which means sacred space, sacred temple, and pretas mean black in Portuguese. So
Hmm.
yoni, that's pretas. So black vaginas.
Hey,
Oh
more
yes.
vaginas.
Power to the
Uh,
black vaginas.
Power to the black vaginas. So yeah, and if folks are coming to Salvador and, for example, want to engage, learn some basic fundamentals in traditional music, samba, and also dance forms. I also offer, group and individual lessons. Sometimes it's intimidating to go to classes here. They only speak Portuguese. It's a different kind of context. So if you're looking for something that's more introductory, sort of less stressful, more focused on where you're at. You want to just be able to dance at a party, go out, have a good time, or also learn what those elements are. I also offer that kind of information and classes and teaching. So that's also an option for folks.
Okay, so
And
I want to add one more thing to that.
yes,
So my family's from Haiti, right?
yes, yes.
And my first year meeting Nefertiti, she was teaching me a Haitian folk dance, like from the religion, and I was like, "You teaching me my culture stuff."
Yes. I was blessed to dance with a group in San Francisco, Alafia, uh, with under the direction of Valerie Watson. And Valerie Watson is one of the pioneers of and a generation. She's a descendant of the Dunham technique. So Catherine Dunham, for those who don't know, was an African American anthropologist, dancer, and she went to Haiti and the Caribbean and learned what are these dance forms, what are these rituals, and tried. And what she did was, when she went back to the States in the 30s, she developed a technique that was grounded in these traditions and did a lot of performances and shows that talked about what these different forms were. So I learned through that tradition some very basic traditional Haitian dance forms, which I love to this day, and I still need to go to Haiti, to exchange, to learn more. Uh, and yeah, so when Renee said I need to learn some Haitian, I said I know a little bit, some
Yeah.
Congo, some Yambalu, and it's interesting because my interest is seeing how these dance forms across the diaspora uh, both are related to each other, but also how they're unique and specific. So yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to reach Nefertiti, well, her
Yes.
space on Instagram is Casa Hosada Bahis, and I'm
Yes.
writing that in the notes. That's CASAO. I'm
R
sorry,
O
CASA. Go ahead and spell it. There's your space. Go ahead, girl.
C A S O Rosada, Rosada, Barris, for those who speak English. Barris. Casa Rosada Barris. That's the Instagram. And to reach me, so I'm having a very conflicting relationship with Instagram right now. So I don't know if that's the best way to reach me. I would say, email nefertiti.alton@gmail.com. Facebook, Nefertiti Charlene. I still have my Facebook. And I have WhatsApp, but it's not really something that folks outside of Latin America really use. So I think those are the best sort of ways to reach me. Um, yeah, and to follow up on anything to build bridges and build more relationships of empowerment and enlightenment.
Yes, yes, yes. So I thank you guys for coming on. And Russell, I thank you for being there. Oh, you asked a question. Okay, I'm seeing it now. What is sound healing? Okay, so hope you're still here. I still see people on. So great question. Thank you, Russell. You've been here the whole time. It's been almost 50 minutes. Man, I love you, man. So sound healing is interesting because our body vibrates. So sound has different
Mm-hmm.
frequencies, and so
Mm-hmm.
again, I'm not a expert on sound healing. That's why I'm going to have someone who does it, come in. But and maybe Nefertiti can talk to this as well. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I know. So sound healing, a lot of that is so different sounds vibrate at different levels, and they can heal us a different ways. So like for example, our heart has a certain resonance. So if you listen to music at 432 hertz, that frequency vibrates, resonates to our heart, and so that's going to work with our heart. And so with sound healing, there's different types of sound healing, like the what do you call it, the Tibetan singing bowls. So I know Safari uses the Tibetan singing bowls, as well as have you ever seen those big glass
Mm-hmm.
bowls that they play? I don't know what they call, but it might also be Tibetan singing bowls or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm actually gonna see if Safari can come on and answer this. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
but go
basically,
ahead.
there's different frequencies in terms of hertz that tap into different chakras. So there's certain ones that tap into your third eye. There's certain ones that tap into your crown, and by hertz, it's just a frequency. For example, a lot of times, um, the I'm trying to think of a common example everyone's aware of. So, church music that's European from the 17th century, a lot of like singing and those sort of high angelic voices are actually at a hertz that taps into our third eye and our crown. So, a lot of times that's why people feel a sense of peace when they're listening to that kind of music. So, sound healing really looks at what are the different kinds of frequencies that tap into particular meridians and chakras. And so, where are you needing more of that sort of healing space? Because sound is a particular healing form that can transcend barriers, can transcend different. It transcends our
Yeah.
skin. It taps into our intelligence on a cellular level pretty quickly. So it has that impact, and that's why music as an art form is the art form that's kind of
Mhm.
most massively engaged in because of our
Mhm.
relationship to
And if
sound.
you think about it, think about how powerful music is and how it can affect your mood.
Mm-hmm.
You could be listening to some Sade. Next thing you know, you're melancholy, you're sad.
Mm-hmm.
So music really affects our mood. And
Mm-hmm.
so you can listen to one type of music. Next thing you know, you're feeling really great and you're happy. Another type, you put on some really crying music, and you're just bawling your tears, your eyes out. And this is why mantras are so effective,
Mm-hmm.
because whenever you're chanting mantras, or even if you think about the Buddhists, or just even in churches, you sing music. So
Mm-hmm.
you're singing. If you're in church, you have different songs that you're singing, and they're at different frequencies, and
Mm-hmm.
those are for a reason, because there's healing. So then when you look at mantras also are at different vibrational levels, and each sound will connect, to different parts of your body, or, organs, or different things like that. You
Mm-hmm.
have, even from Taoism, you have different sound healing meditations that each sound is connected to each of your organs, and it has the power to heal your organ. So, our friend Gabby, who's also going to be one of the teachers. She has an amazing voice, and she does healing through singing,
Mm-hmm.
through singing. And it's like you hear her sing, and you're just like, oh my God, like it's powerful,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so hopefully that answers your question, Russell, about what is sound healing. Um, so yeah, so cool. Um, if anyone has any other questions, feel free, let us know. We appreciate the questions. We appreciate those who came on to watch. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much it, right? I think we've talked about what Prandhara's Flow is about, what you're going to be doing. I've named a couple of the teachers, and I'm excited because this was my first live, my first YouTube live. I've been doing Facebook lives, but this is my first YouTube live. So, Russell, listen, I really, truly, truly appreciate you. Truly appreciate you being here all this time. Amazing. Everybody that's came on to watch, everybody that's going to watch the repeat later. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
guys so much. I'm so excited. I feel honored for my first one. I'm honored to have Nefertiti on my first YouTube live. So yes, yes, yes. Um, Continue to watch. Check out my channel. Please subscribe. If you have not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel. I have some amazing videos that really talks about sexuality outside of the box from what you will typically get. And so I talk a lot about sexuality, sacred sexuality from a spiritual point of view. So it's good to open up and have different views. So also you can check me out as well on Instagram. Instagram, I am Prandhara Prem. So you see it here, Prandhara Prem, Prandhara Prem on Instagram as well as Facebook. Facebook, I'm also on Facebook as Renee Adolph, ReneeAdolphe. Instagram, I also have an Instagram account, Sacred Soul Retreat, Sacred Soul Retreat. So find me on one of those. Also, Black Rome Experience, that has a lot to do with my what's going on in Salvador. And from when I was on Soledad O'Brien, that piece was called Black Rome Salvador. So check out YouTube Black Rome Salvador if you want to see that interview with me by Soledad O'Brien. Also, look out for me on Married at First Sight on Lifetime. So Russell says, good information. I'll be sure to tune in. Thank you. And thank you, Russell. All right, everyone. So it is going on 11 p.m. here. So Nefertiti must be exhausted.
Long
And
day, but
long
fun to
day.
talk about all these things. We need to talk about these things all the time.
We really do. We really do. So I really hope that you guys got the most out of this, that you enjoyed it, and you really benefited from the information from what you're hearing. If you want more, join us in March. And you
Yeah.
have a nice day too, Russell. See you soon. Join us in
Bye,
March.
everybody.
We'll be there. All right. Bye. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Good
Ciao, ciao.
night. Ciao, ciao. God bless. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe.